In today's video, I want to take you through how to track your body measurements. Hey, how's it going everyone? My name is Devin Ricker, and if you're new here, I create all sorts of content on how to stay fit and healthy from the comfort of your own home. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to like and subscribe today. So let's jump into it. So there are many ways to track the progress that you're making on your fitness journey. One of my favorite ways to track your progress on your fitness journey is through body measurements. I like to monitor that through 5 different sites. I like to start up high and go down low. So we start with the arm, then we go to the chest, then the waist, then the hips, and then finally the thighs. So these are my 5 favorite sites to make sure that you're on track for your fitness journey. So let's go ahead and dive into what each one looks like. So your first step in getting these body measurements is to get yourself a measuring tape. Make sure you have one that's flexible like this. You can find it in pretty much any store, especially like an arts and crafts store, but also something like Walmart or Target in the sewing section. If you don't have one of these and you need to do your body measurements right away, you can use like a ruler or a yardstick or something like that. Just make sure that you get a piece of string, maybe a shoestring, and then that's what you use the body measurements for, and then you lay it out on the ruler that way. Okay, so let's jump into it. So first things first, make sure you're starting at the right end of the measuring tape. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone mess this up by starting at the wrong end of the measuring tape. So make sure you're starting where it starts at 0. Now keep in mind too, we're gonna be doing this with centimeters, not inches. So the first site is the arm. Now, whether you pick the right arm or left arm, stick with that. So if you're gonna do another measurement in about a month, do the same arm. So for today's purposes, let's do the left side of our body. Okay, so what I wanna do is I wanna go about halfway down the arm. My arm is gonna be relaxed. I'm not flexing or anything. And then what I'm gonna do is loop it around. Now, I have to warn you, this is definitely the hardest one to get right, and that's okay. So what you wanna do is go about right there. So it's usually a little bit higher than you might think. It's where the tricep is gonna stick out maybe the most. And I actually find that the easiest way to do this is actually just to start with your arm up and then relax it down. So you get it in that good position and turn it to where you can read it, just like that. And then put the arm down and let it relax, and then get your number right there. So for me, we're looking at about 40 to 41 centimeters, somewhere around there. Also keep in mind, this is something that you can do with a partner, and it's probably easier with a partner. The only thing is just make sure it's the same person measuring every single time. Because the important thing is that you're as consistent with your measurements as possible. So if it's you measuring, make sure you're measuring every time. If it's someone else, a spouse or a partner or a trainer or someone, make sure they're measuring every single time. And also, if you have landmarks to go based off of, like if you have a freckle that's about halfway up the arm, then use that same freckle every single time. That way you know exactly where to measure. All right, so landmark number 2 is the chest. So for the chest, I like to go right at the nipples. I don't have it drooping down in the back and pulling it up like this. And I also don't have it like too high and coming down with it. I'm trying my best to go straight across, just like this. And now I'm also gonna relax. I wanna exhale when I do this. I don't wanna inhale because that would make your chest and everything a lot bigger. Just relax. So another note on these measurements is I want you to go all the way through them once and then do it again a second time. And with those 2 numbers, we're gonna take the average of those 2 numbers. And if you find that you're more than about 1.5 centimeters or 2 centimeters off in your numbers, then do a third time and take the 2 that are the closest to one another and average those out. So next we have everyone's favorite, which is the waist or the belly. So when you do the waist measurement, make sure that you have your shirt off. You really wanna be as close to the skin on all of these measurements as possible. So make sure you're starting at 0. And then I always like to go right at the navel. So when we do this, we don't wanna be sucking in or anything. We want to relax as much as you can because we want to be as consistent as possible with our measurements. So I'm going to get right there. And with all of these, we want to have them snug, but not too tight that it's actually digging into your skin. You can see that it is not drooping down. It is straight across. So it's not down like that. It's exactly straight across. And if you have to, you can do kind of the towel, like the shower towel kind of thing to get the back to come up just a little bit. Okay, and then from there, we're gonna go to the hips. So the landmark for the hips is gonna be the biggest part of your butt. I like to kind of get these on the side right here so you can see that it's straight across for this again. Now the last measurement is the thighs. So I'm gonna stay on the same side that I did my arm on. Now you can do this sitting down if you want, but it's just whatever you're most comfortable with and what will be most consistent for you. So I wanna go halfway up the thigh. Again, if you have a landmark, a freckle or something like that, that's perfectly fine. Just for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna kind of eyeball it. And once again, make sure that it's not dipping down at all. Make sure it's straight across the thigh, just like that. And make sure that your thigh is relaxed. You don't want to flex it up or have the knee bent. You want it to be straight, locked out, and relaxed. Okay, so I'm at about 64.5 centimeters. Okay, so I just went all the way through all 5 measurements. And if I were doing this for real, I would go all the way back through, and then I would take the average of those 2 measurements. Now again, remember, if you're about 1.5 to 2 centimeters off in your measurement, so let's say that maybe my arm was about 30 centimeters one time and then 34 the next time, then that means you need to do a 3rd measurement. Now let's say the 3rd measurement is 33, then you can just take the average of the 33 and the 34 because those are the 2 closest numbers. So then you'll take the average of those 2. And again, you don't have to do this every single week. This is just monitoring purposes. I like to do this with my clients about once a month or every new block. I definitely don't like to do this as much as I'm weighing because your weight is gonna fluctuate a lot quicker than some of these measurements. This is just a really good way to keep track of where you're losing or if you're losing or if you're gaining muscle in any sort of area. That's why I really like this. This is something that the scale can't necessarily tell you. So those are the 5 sites that I think are the most valuable to track when monitoring your fitness journey. I would probably get these measurements about once a month. Also make sure to get your body mass. You can do that a little bit more frequently. That could be more like once or twice a week. But with both of these measurements, make sure you're doing them first thing in the morning. So after you use the bathroom and before you drink or eat anything. So first thing in the morning is best for both of these types of measurements. Before the new week starts, I usually like to do them on either Saturday or Sunday mornings. So guys, thanks so much for watching. And if you're new to the whole fitness thing in general, then I encourage you to watch this video on how to get started with your fitness journey. It's gonna help you get a plan no matter what your goals are. Make sure to comment down below and let me know if you've ever tried this before, if you've ever tracked your body measurements like this. Guys, thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.